Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and tonight I'm going to be bringing you my July reading wrap-up. So July, I read 10 books. Part of these books were for the Horror and 24 Readathon. Then the rest of them were for my regular TBR. I actually didn't fulfill either one of those. I had a few books. I had more books from my TBR that I didn't fulfill, and then I had books for the Horror and 24 Readathon and the prompts for those that I also did not fulfill. So that being said, I'm a little bit disappointed, but then again, I am a little bit happy also for the books that I did get read. So that being said, some of these books I did already review in separate videos, and I'll leave links to those videos in the description below. This is just like a real brief wrap up. I mean, nothing too long, I hope. So for the first thing I read this in July was Screamscapes, and this is by Evans Light, and this is a collection of Twilight Zone-esque horror or terror stories that I found to be quite enjoyable, and I ended up giving it a 4-star rating. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. So yeah, Screamscapes by Evans Light. All right, next up is one that I just found to be so absolutely bizarre. I don't know. I really do not know how to give a rating to this book. I liked it, but I just don't know how to rate it. All right, and that is Apeshit by Carlton Mellick III. And basically the way to describe this book is a cabin in the woods horror story with drunk and rowdy teenagers. And the reason it is called Apeshit is because the author of this book, Carlton Mellick III, pretty much threw everything at you in this book like a monkey throwing feces at you at the zoo. That is the best way to describe this book. It is bizarre as hell. Apeshit. All right, next up is one that I have on my Kindle, so I'll try to pop up the picture there in a minute. And that is The Atlanta Incursion by Matthew W. Quinn. This is book 2 of the Long War series. The first book was The Thing in the Woods. What I said about The Thing in the Woods is that I liked the book, but I didn't care for the characters, meaning that I could care less what happened to the characters. I had no sympathy for them. That is a little bit different story with The Atlanta Incursion. This one is more of a Men in Black, grays sort of thing. When I say grays, I mean these little almond-shaped aliens, except they're not little almond-shaped aliens. They're big freaking aliens, and they're mean. All right? And I cared a lot more for the characters because some of the characters from The Thing in the Woods, you know, are in this book. They're the main characters in this book, and I cared a lot more for them than I did in the first book. And it's a marked improvement over the first book to me. I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, The Atlanta Incursion. Next up is The Magpie Coffin by Wiley Young. This is a splatter western. It even says right here, a splatter western. In fact, it is book 1 of the splatter western series, and it is published by Death's Head Press. This book is awesome. 5 stars all the way. We are talking non-stop western horror, gore, just non-stop thrill a minute. I love this book. Can't get enough of it. All right, after The Magpie Coffin, I have from Calvin Ellis, I have In the Hills Above the Gristmill. And this is a murder mystery. It's more of a murder mystery than it is a horror novel, but there is an element of horror to it. It is I guess you kind of say it's a backwoods tale. It takes place in the Appalachians in Kentucky. And there just may or may not be a Sasquatch in it. So, yeah, I give this one a 4.5-star rating. In the Hills Above the Gristmill, Calvin Ellis. Next up, I've got, and this is another one in the horror, this is one of the ones in the Horror and 24 Readathon. This one is Read a Book with a Supernatural Creature. I picked Wolf Moon by David Irons. This is a werewolf in space novel. Is exactly what it is. It is if you want to say it's a ripoff of Aliens, you can do that. If you want to say it's a ripoff of Armageddon, you can do that. It rips off a lot of movies, but oh my God, is it fun. This book is fun with a capital F, okay? This is definitely a 5-star rating. This is like if you walk into a video store and you see this cheesy movie, you know, and it's called Wolf Moon, and you go, hey, let's take this home. It sounds like fun. It is. It's because it is. This book is a literary equivalent of a B movie, VHS movie from the 80s. It is fun, fun, fun. I loved it. All right. Wolf Moon. Next up in the Horror in 24 series, this one fulfills 2 of the prompts for that series, or that readathon, excuse me. And the first one is to read a book with red on the cover. Then the next one is to read a psychological horror. This one fulfills both of those, and it is Red Dragon. And nobody said whether it was the word red or the color red, but it fulfills both. So there you go, Red and Dragon, red right there. This is the first book in the Hannibal Lecter series, and I'm so glad. This is a reread for me, but it's been so long since I reread this, or since I read this, and I absolutely loved it. It's a 5-star rating all the way for me. I mean, I love Hannibal Lecter. He's my homie. All right, just cool dude. You know, I know he eats people, but they deserved it. Anyway, Red Dragon. All right, next up, read a gothic horror book. That's another one for Horror in 24. I decided to read Carmilla by J. Sheridan Le Fanu. And there's so many elements of Carmilla that I don't know if they were borrowed or they were just outright stolen by Bram Stoker when he wrote Dracula. But you can see the similarities between the 2 books. I give Carmilla 4 stars. 4 stars. I actually enjoyed it more than Dracula, I think. And that's saying a lot. Anyway, next up in the Horror in 24 readathon, I read Black Goat Blues. And I'm not going to say too much about this one because it is the second book in the Mythos War series, or the trilogy. And the first one was Red Right Hand, and that one dealt a lot with the elder god Nyarlathotep, as does this one. And it also deals with the god Hastur and the god elder god Hastur and the elder god Shub-Niggurath, the Black Goat of the Woods, which is why you have this title. I don't want to say too much more because I don't want to give away any spoilers. And I give this one 4 stars. It's by Levi Black, if I didn't say that already. All right, last but not least, this is for the Horror in 24, and this one was read a haunted house or a ghost story. I read Spectres by Stephen Laws. And this is basically about a group of friends that are being hunted, haunted, and killed by an unseen entity. And every time one of them is killed, there's a picture that they took a long time ago of them in a group photograph. And whenever one of them is killed, he disappears from that photograph. He or she disappears from the photograph. So, yeah, it's basically one of those race against time before you become the next person to disappear from the photo kind of books. And I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. All right, and that is Spectre by Stephen Laws. So that's going to do it. That is my wrap-up for July, my July reading wrap-up. This is actually my first time doing a reading wrap-up. I don't know what took me so long. I've been doing this for over a year now, and I've never done a reading wrap-up until now. I kind of like it. I'm going to do more. All right. So that being said, like I said, I didn't get to finish all the prompts for the Horror in 24. One of them was one where you read a favorite story that you enjoyed as a child. I was going to read The Vampire of Crogland Grange from the Ghost, Ghouls, and Other Horrors collection. I didn't get to that one. And there was also a group read of Paul Tremblay's Survivor Song. I got the book on my Kindle. I just did not get to it. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. Anyway, that is it. My July reading wrap-up. This is going to be the first of 2 videos that I'm doing tonight. So I thank you for watching this one. And I hope you watch the next one because it's one of my musical videos. So that being said, until next time, see you later.